It's hard to imagine Jamie Foxx as a slave or Leonardo DiCaprio as a despicable slave owner.
I'm curious.
I'm curious what makes you so curious.
And yet, here they are, facing off in one of the most daring movies of the year, Django Unchained.
What's your name?
Django. The D is silent.
The latest from the provocative writer-director Quentin Tarantino. The new film defies classification, a revenge fantasy.
I like the way you die, boy.
A romance, a western, and it has everyone talking.
One critic said recently, there is something for everyone to hate in this film. There's something to make everybody mad.
Mm-hmm. I don't think that you do a film like this with Quentin Tarantino and not expect that. I think that's what you sign up for.
Fox plays a freed slave who goes on a blood-soaked mission to rescue his wife, played by Kerry Washington.
You scared me.
Fox says he quickly discovered he'd have to park all his success at the door.
Quentin, he looked at me and he says, "You gotta be a slave." And I went, "What is that about?" And as I looked at my Louis bag and I looked at my Range Rover key, and he says, "If you don't leave that outside, we're never going to be able to tell a story," which was tough for me because I worked all my life to get to where I am as Jamie Foxx, and now he says, "You're not there. If you do it the right way, it'll be an iconic film."
It certainly is a controversial one. Among the film's many provocations,
What's your name, boy?
its liberal, some might say promiscuous use of the N-word.
I don't think anybody is actually going out there saying that we use the word more excessively than it was used in 1858 in Mississippi. And if that's not the case, then they can shut up. It's my job to tell the truth.
DiCaprio takes a chance in this one, too, playing Kelvin Candie.
This was one of the most narcissistic, self-indulgent, racist, most despicable characters I've ever read in my entire life.
I can choose to do with my property whatever I so desire.
Not only is the character he plays vile, taking this part was a big deal for an actor of his caliber. The first time he hasn't been the leading man since his colossal success in Titanic.
WACP, the place to be, for we are creative people, and some place to be on a telephone conference call with Chief Elder Osiris. Now, Chief Osiris has a background that won't wait. I mean, pages and pages and pages, but I will say about this particular brother that he has been around for a while, and he has participated in all types of activities with NAACP, the Congress of Racial Equality, the Florida National United Fund. He has founded organizations, the Pan-African International Movement, where he's the elder, the chief elder of the Sankofa Repatriation Movement. And I mean, it just goes on and on and on. We're going to bring him up momentarily. We have a conversation that is very, very needed in the community. And this conversation is about a movie that came out. We all know the name of it. The D is silent, Django. And a lot of talk about this movie. So we're here on the phone live with Chief Elder Osiris, and we're going to get him to make his statement about this movie, and then afterwards he can have a open phone line for a question and answer or comments, but we're going to let him just speak about it first. Elder Chief Osiris, are you there, please?
I'm here, my brother. How are you doing today, tonight?
All right, then. Well, welcome to the call. And, I mean, this movie, I mean, everybody's just been talking about it. All kind of things been said about the N-word. I mean, that's what they call it. I just say it straight up, you know, nigga. But tell us, give us some facts, history, some feedback, and where do you stand with all of this?
Okay, you're right. It's been pretty hot, hasn't it?
Yes, sir.
And I'll just give you my take on it, and we'll go from there after I finish, okay?
All right, then.
Hotel to the participating audience.
Hotel.
I would try to be brief, but I want to be precise.
All right.
So let me begin by indicating that I have read many comments about the movie Django coming from black people, whom is my main concern. You know, I often say that I look through a vacuum and I see through a tunnel where my view will be only black people, because it's black folks that I'm mainly concerned about. And so when I went to view the movie and afterwards saw how controversial it is with many black people, I kind of sat back and contemplated and meditated on the many comments that I was hearing coming from black people. So what I know of most black people is that we rather look at things more so than to see things. Because, you see, looking is believing, and seeing is knowing. And black people have been conditioned to believe about things that are superficial. And we do as we do because it is more easier and convenient to believe what others tell us about things than for us to think, to know about things, and knowing require for us to see and to use our original mind in order to see things that are below the surface of what we are looking at. And today, most black people are just a looking people. So from what I have read of the comments coming from and heard of, coming from most black people concerning the movie Django, is that black people are reacting to what we are looking at concerning the movie. Whenever we black people look without seeing, we set ourselves up to be deceived and to look at things as we have been taught by our oppressor to look at. The first thing of concern most black people looked at, heard, and reacted to in the movie of Django is the word nigger. Nigger being used in a movie that is showing clips of our African ancestors being confined in the institution of child slavery. I'm not concerned about the nigger word, root, which could be the word Niger or Niger or what have you, pertaining to a river and or land locations in Africa, where black people resided divinely at earlier time. We black people must be aware of the word nigger, a word created by white people to identify and describe their chattel property. The name calling to refer to black people by white people. And it is white people who gave meaning to the word nigger to apply to black people, which is, in white people's mind, 3/5 of their human quality. And they look at us as being slothful, lazy, monkey-like behavior, unworthy to be respected by white people, and with a lack of sufficient intelligence that would qualify us, in their mind, to be a complete walking, thinking, reasoning being of their human quality. Hell, if you desire an accurate account of child slavery experience to be shown, then how else were the black people acting as white folks' slaves were to be referred to by white people in the movie Django? To refer to black people not as niggers, acting as victims of child slavery, would have been Django Unchained, meaning the truth about that horrible time was not being told about how white people's mind functioned in regard to black people during that time. Now, during the time of child slavery and beyond, white people in their minds saw black people as their niggers and lower in terms of classifying us black people. And the only way you could withstand the word nigger being used to address black people in the movie is that you have to be seeing and not only looking at the movie Django. So, the word nigger is appropriately being used in regard to the setting and plot of the movie, which is about the time during the implementation of child slavery. Something we shouldn't forget about. And our African ancestors were being treated not as human beings, but as human beings, nigger property. So you have black Americans focusing and looking on and at the word nigger being used, and they do so in order to distract black people from seeing the true nature and spirit of white people towards black people at the time that the institution of child slavery was active, being carried out by a spirit of white people which is still active toward black people today. As we live within the mental institution of child slavery today, and most of us black folks today is being guided by the mind of those with a history of enslaving our African ancestors. And you are those black Americans who cannot see the truth for looking at lies, believing such to be true. I'm not concerned about any individual actor in the way she or he played the role as the script was written in Django. After all, Django is a movie, and is left up to the viewer to see the good that can be taken from the movie as it relates to the plot of the movie, which is a setting depicting a spirit of white people toward black people during the time, not of joyful times, but the time of child slavery, the time most black people try to run away from and forget. But I'm going to continue to let you know this is what was being portrayed to you in Django. The important thing about the movie Django is that there was the spirit being acted out by a black man which should be representative of both black women and men, towards an evil spirit that constructed an institution that treated and chained our ancestors to be child property, owned by white people. That experience was no movie creation, but is a movie reenactment of an actual experience our African ancestors did in fact live to experience. And Django shows a spirit of vengeance toward the spirit of that institution, which black people should express against that institution today. It being the actual spirit of white people toward our African ancestors of that time and of today, as long as reparation is not paid, a debt owed to our enslaved ancestors, which keep the chains of child slavery around our mind, hand, and feet until reparation is paid to our enslaved ancestors. So, yes, today, we are and of white folk. There is a fundamental difference having a little phone problem, yeah. Are you all still with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, there's a fundamental difference in being a black American and being black in America. Let me say that again. There is a fundamental difference in being black American and being black in America. One is a spirit of total submission to the cultural and spirit of America, while the other is in total opposition to the spirit and culture of America, which caused the two mentalities to behave differently in the way life is lived in and out of America. So, most comments about the movie Django by black people is coming from black Americans. The comments that get the most attention from black people. And that is the reason why black people are in the condition we're in today, being guided by the oppressor's Uncle Tom's mind, the mind Samuel Jackson portrayed flawlessly in Django. And that was no fictitious fantasy. That was the mentality of many black folks during the time of child slavery. Most black people today is guided by a mind looking to be entertained, more so than is guided by a mind that see in order to learn about the facts that cause black people to be no more than a human being, domesticated property, belonging to white people, as we are affected by the evil spirit of white people being acted out towards black people today. And during the time when the institution of child slavery was an overt, accepted spirit to be expressed by white people against our African ancestors, back then as well as today. The movie Django is showing to you the same type of spirit white people are acting out towards black people covertly today. A spirit expressed in a disrespectful and demeaning way. And it will always be the case of us black people being treated as the property of white people, as long as reparation is not paid to our enslaved ancestors. And we choose to just look at what we need to see in the movie Django. That, beloved, was the actual experience of our African ancestors. We must never forget that. Being shown in the movie Django about the way white people acted towards our ancestors during the time in America from the 1500s to the 1800s, when child slavery was the actual experience of our African ancestors in chains in North America. An experience not to be denied or debated, as our enslaved ancestors lived the life while being reduced to the level of child, referred to as nigger by white people. And now you got the black Americans trying to get black people to run away from a word that our enslaved ancestors had to live with 24/7. And we aren't attempting to do anything about it because our lives to be different from the lives that our enslaved ancestors were put up against during those times. So, when speaking about what is true and real in the movie Django, well, it is what has been verified by an actual experience. Nothing made up. Because experience cannot be fabricated. Even when a lie is put forth as being the truth, it is that act of experience that verifies the lie being portrayed as true. You cannot be an experience to have it to be what you want it to be. It is action that verifies what was and is to be the actual experience, which becomes the result from an actually happening in a past, present time reality, which verifies truth, which is none other than experience. And the movie Django was showing to you an experience that our ancestors lived in America. At a time, they were treated as white folks' child, nigger, and property. And you run trying to hide from that truth, being told about America and you black people. Well, the movie Django, which to me need no interpretation, not to be analyzed, because the movie is depicting a period of time that revealed the spirit of white people as they acted out against black people. A period of time which our African ancestors actually experienced in an institution acted out by the spirit of white people. Spirit being an action of an attitudinal behavior expressed by white people towards black people. A spirit that served as the institution mentality constructed to treat black people at that time as being white people child property and slaves. A period of time black people rather forget than to deal with. Well, we're dealing with it this evening. The movie Django is not about a Western-style movie. It is not about character costumes worn by Django the character. Not about dolls depicting enslavement or who profit from the experience of child slavery. The movie showed unchained the horror and evil of a spirit acted out against our African ancestors and the way they were classified as child, nigger, black folks unworthy to be treated on the low level of a human being, which would have black people to be viewed as being lower than a human being. The classification white people gave to themselves and presented themselves to the black world as being superior over a people whom they classified to be 2/5 less than who white people presented themselves to be. which is human, a being who marveled over treating our African ancestors as their child property, their nigger, and their slaves, such being the character of a human being portrayed in the movie Django. Now, take the scene of the black men chained in a cage, and Django was about to lead them there after he had killed the guards. Many black people ask the question with resentment towards Django because he rode away without freeing the black men in chains. Well, I think the focus should not be on what Django did not do. It should be focused upon who is responsible for those black men being there in that condition in the first place. That's what we don't want to deal with. The question asked by the plantation owner at Candyland is a valid one, I think. The question is, why is it? Get this. Why is it when the black enslaved African being treated as a slave on the plantation, when shaving the slave master did not slit that devil's throat? Well, it is the same reason why the black American today critique the behavior of Django as shown in the movie towards the caged black Africans, and of Django dress wear and dogs of Django, but do not criticize the spirit being shown by the slave master towards the black Africans on the plantation, which to me was far more of a dramatization of an evil expression and treatment against our enslaved ancestors, which should have been the main focus, an expression, a rejection of such treatment of black people. And here we are commenting on the movie Django. So, the main focus of black people regarding the movie Django should be the action viewed of child slavery being the condition of black people, which should prompt a resounding resentment against such a treatment of black people, and approval of Django action against such evil spirit of white people, who is responsible for the child enslavement of our ancestors. But no, many of us black people rather focus upon the victims of child slavery and critique them, rather than to be vengeful towards such evil spirit responsible for the enslavement, domestication of our African ancestors. Oh, how far we have fallen. Therefore, when the event of child slavery is presented any way other than the way the actual experience our ancestors was exposed to, it is being presented without showing the vengeance some of our enslaved ancestors acted out against the slave master, without the word expression of nigger used to refer to our enslaved ancestors, and show no sign of the love of our African ancestors expressed toward the black African woman during that time. So, as far as I am concerned, based upon what I know of the black race prior to our fall, meaning the coming of the human being into the black life present, as far as I'm concerned, every black African child should see the movie Django, with their Django dog being hugged with black pride and affection. The dog that represents vengeance taken against the constructionists of that evil devilish spirit of an institution referred to as child slavery. And I would venture to share with you, black people, that every black American, not black in America, in the act of showing disgust towards the movie Django, therefore is acting the character of a nigger who is always on alert to please the white master, believing that white is superior over black, when in fact black is the God womb out of which all things physical and not physical come forth to be, having the dark energy space to be the God of all there is and there is to be. So, with that, I will present myself to be exposed to you, to learn from you, and to hear from you, your comments and your thoughts on the movie Django. And thank you for your patience, and let us begin the dialogue.
Well, thank you very much, Chief Elder Osiris, for that presentation. It is 8 minutes after the hour, and you're tuned live to WACP, the place to be, for we are creative people. Very much alive tonight, very much into a conversation that have been conversed and talked about and discussed over and under and all around about, but not in this way. So we have some callers on the line, and we would like to get your thoughts, opinions, questions at this time for Chief Osiris. Who's on the line, and where are you calling from, and what is your question or comment? Okay.
Isis, Arizona.
All right. Greetings, Isis.
Greetings. Greetings, beloved Chief Elder Osiris.
Hotep, beloved, how are you this evening?
I'm one with you.
Hotep.
Hotep. I've read where it was stated that the Django movie was a preparation for war. Please share with us your thoughts on that.
Well, I could not perceive that movie to be of such, and here's the reason why. When you are being able to be motivated to prepare for war, it means that you're totally aware of who your enemy is, and that you are totally dissatisfied with the way your life is being treated. So I cannot see most black people, as they view this movie, as using it as a means for preparation for war, because you first have to develop the mind to enter into such an engagement. Mm-hmm. And today, that is not the mind most black people carry and is using in America today. So, you know, white folks can do and say anything they so desire. And the most evil thing they have done and is doing to black people, and black people have not even made an effort to try to come together to indicate a desire to make a plan, come up with a plan for war. And that is, white people still refuse to acknowledge their wrong in how they treated our African ancestors, because we have yet to collect our enslaved ancestors' reparation. And I use reparation as a litmus test to all white people. As long as our ancestors' debt is not paid, I see racism, prejudice, the mental construction of the institution of child slavery still active in the mind of black people. So, no, we're not ready for war. White people can do and say anything they so desire to black people. We go laughing and skinning and grinning. That's the way we have been conditioned. So I didn't see that.
Thank you, Chief Elder. It has also been said that Django movie is disrespectful to our ancestors by a well-known person we all know. And I'm of the mind that the fact that we don't do the divine right thing, that we're all disrespecting our ancestors. Your comment?
Well, you know, to say that is to say that the divine truth disrespects our ancestors. And that is far from being true. And the movie Django was depicting just a small fraction of a period of time where white people was acting to be our God and treating our ancestors as so familiar to us today, lower than their child. They treated the dog, their hogs, their brute animals more courteous and more humble than they did our ancient African ancestors in the institution of slavery. So no, I think the movie Django shows great respect to our enslaved ancestors because it's still revealing the true nature and spirit of white folk, had been and have now toward black people.
Sure. I often get emails about the conference calls, and the last one I tuned into was The Matrix Reloaded. So when I received this one about Django, I said I had to tune in. So I wanted to get some more. I looked on the internet to get some more information about Chief Osiris, and I was really vibing with everything he was saying. So I just knew I had to call in to just hear him speak about this movie.
Okay, well, thank you. You watched the movie. What was your most impressive moments of that movie?
I would have to say the fact that Django was willing to risk his life for his wife. We don't see that often depicted in movies. We always see, the superheroes rescuing or going above and beyond for his white woman, but we rarely see that. So I was just really thrilled that that was a part of the movie, making the black woman as important and worth fighting for.
Okay. Yes. And the thing that we miss regarding the movie and Django is that we are justified in exacting vengeance towards that which do evil towards us.
Now, Chief, some people are up in arms talking about, this is a white man who made the story and that he got our story and making money off of us and got our actors acting the parts and everything. Can you speak on that? Because when I watched the movie, I wasn't into who was producing it. I was into the movie, and I was actually surprised that.
Well,
I'm
sorry.
Tell us about that.
Well, it just goes to show how shallow our mind is. And as I was sharing with us, it serves as a distraction from what we need to be seeing in the movie. Hell yes, the cracker makes money by viewing his evil activity and techniques used against our ancestors. Where is Spike? The other black directors, why don't they make one if they got a problem with Tarantino? So I think that's a false narrative. And it's only been used to distract black people from seeing the core meaning and depiction the movie was projecting. And that is white folks' evilness towards black folk in that evil institution called child slavery.
I mean, we've even heard comments, Elder Chief, about the story being off the line with being factual, in that a gun don't shoot that many times, and I mean, or he would not have, or she would not have worn that kind of clothes or something. I mean, you know, I didn't look at any of that.
Your mind runs deeper than that, brother. That's why. You see how shallow-minded we are? And you know, as I was sharing with us earlier, the black American do not want black people to see white folks in the way that they really are. Do not want black people to be reminded of what happened to our ancestors. And it's still happening to us today. So you got Negroes out there, niggas, who are out there conjuring up all kind of false analysis, but will not point you to the core meaning of the movie, which is showing to you a period of time we must never forget.
That's right.
And I have to applaud that white man for giving us a small snippet of that period of time unchanged.
Yes, I think it was the movie that showed on television, Roots, that we were able to experience prior to this one. And up in the space in between is great. I mean, you're talking, 20 years or so?
Yes. So, you know, black people, most of us, some of us, were the ones who portrays today the character Sam Jackson was portraying in the movie Django. They're still active, you know.
Yes, let's talk about that. That character, I mean, don't we see that every day? I mean, don't we actually see that character in our people?
Every day. I mean, we live it. I mean, you know, our condition spells it out. We're black folk. Hear me now. Black folk are in the condition we're in today because there are Negroes, the niggers, who still act out the role of Samuel Jackson, the Uncle Tom. And, you know, they run interference for the white man. So who is it that can find fault with this movie if you're able to see it? Like I was sharing, you know, we look too much. And you see with your mind. And the mind that we not carry is the mind of our oppressor. So we cannot go no deeper than the mind of the oppressor will allow us to go. That is why you hear me and see me sharing a lot of time, informing black people before we can do anything in regards to our safety and our freedom. We first must deal with our mind. We need to regain our original mind, because what we are using today, my brother, is not the mind of our ancient cosmic divine first way ancestors. And they showed you what such quality of mind can do. And they left you a monument over there in Africa that is standing still, embracing time. The Great Pyramid of Giza.
Yes.
A structure black folks won't even spend no time with in trying to study it, trying to get the true meaning of it. We rather wait for white folks to interpret it. And we go running, regurgitating what white folks say about it. That should be our cobblestone. That should be what black folks would go back to, pilgrimage back to, and march around that great monument. There's no telling what might happen. And you know what? Even if we attempted to do that, you know who will be standing in our way? The ones who have taken all of northern Africa from us. So we will not be able to reclaim our structures, prevent this devil from pilgrimage, our ancestors' graves and tombs, until we get the mind to do that. We have no mind to go to war for anything other than what the white man points us towards. And by doing that, it's a clear indication we're still enslaved.
Well, there are events that speak to the fact that this movie came out around Christmas Day, which was in 2012, and then coming on into 2013, we just had the inauguration of President Barack Obama, President-elect, and you have an article in the community saying President Obama is exactly what America needs. Can you speak to that?
Right. I mean, he's exactly what America needs, because he is not going to do no more than what his handlers instruct him to do. And what we as black people do not understand is that there is a faction of white folks in America who despise America's system and is hell-bent on tearing it down. And they are using Obama to do that. So I'm saying, the hell with the system. The hell with the division among white folk. And use Obama to tear down the republic of your so-called America. And while you're doing it, black folks need to be mobilizing themselves to go into action, demanding what is owed to our ancestors. The Honorable Marcus Garvey said that we should be mindful of the fact that the best time to strike is when America is falling to her knees. Where is she falling now?
To her knees.
To her knees. We get all upset and fearful because of her military might, not realizing the might of a collective, united black front, moving with one mind towards a goal that is justifiable ours. that goal being the collection of our African ancestors' reparation. We don't think like that. So, yes, America is exactly what Obama needs. He's not going to do anything for black folks. And by not doing anything for black folks, I am in strong meditation of desire that at some point a light's going to come open up in our mind to tell us and to show us you aren't going to get no more than what you demand for yourself. So stop getting out of that old dependency mentality. And when we do not know who we are as black people, we move as slave for white people. Just that simple.
All right, then. Well, as you say, looking is believing, but seeing is knowing. And,
there you go.
Yes, indeed. So I think that we have been very well taught tonight, and I would like to just close on this note based on getting back to the movie. The movie, when I watched it, and it went off with a black man being the hero, riding off with his woman on a horse. I mean, even doing a little dance step with the horse. I mean, it's like...
He was reeling it in, wasn't he?
Yeah. I was like, wow, this is going to really make black folks proud. They're going to be proud of this movie. This is a good example of an ending, because I was looking for him to get shot or, wounded something, before it went off. And this man came off, did all this stuff, and got away and rode off into the sunset.
Well, see, what that shows is that if you stand up for what's true and what's acceptable to your life without compromise, you can defeat evil. But if you're always in a submissive state of mind, you aren't going to be able to get on your horse and have it to dance like that after you done, did your thing with evil.
Right.
You see. So, there was look, this white boy gave you a message. All right, and here we are with our lip turned backwards, looking too hard and can't see what the white boy was telling you. So all you have to do is just get together and take a stand against all of this evil that have been perpetrated against you black people. But no, we go nitpicking and jumping and hopping and looking, not able to see anything because the mind that we now wear is not our mind. So white folks is not concerned about us right now because he knows whose mind you're wearing. And, whenever sometimes... I'm sorry.
Oh, no. Is that sort of like when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said the white man is the devil, and he would offer, I think he said $50,000 from his brother's vest pocket for anybody who could prove that he wasn't, and nobody came forward, but black people are the only people who argue against that. I mean, they didn't go argue to go collect the money. I mean, they couldn't. But
you know why? You know why, brother? You know why? You know why? Huh? Because what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was doing was informing you of the fact that the devil is no more than a state of mind.
Right.
And what those black folks who was angry towards that and didn't like it, they were viewing the devil as the Bible has depicted him to be to you. They look for some creature in a red uniform with horns sticking out in his pitfall. All right? So it's all in how you've been conditioned to see things and to look at things and to view things. And today, black people have been conditioned to look at things, to view things entirely in the way white people have conditioned us to look at it. And we can't get in a place like that. Africa is falling. You know, we're more divisive than ever before. You got niggas out there talking about we are the mother of white folk. You know, hey, that is a sign of a mind gone contrary and is out of focus. It indicates that here is the black people who have been made not to know who in the hell you are. So we have to take direction in terms of describing who we are from the very one who is a liar and a deceiver to you, and who came and took away everything that you had. And now we are striving every day to be just like it. That's why I make a clear distinction. We're not human beings. We're divine beings. And it's a distinct difference between the two, because we're only dealing with mentalities. Humanity is a mentality. Divinity is a mentality. Our first were ancestors exposed to us a divine mentality. Evidence. Look at all of the great monuments and all of the things that they were able to do back then without the cranes and the bulldozers and all of the other type of machinery.
Yes.
But you go to pointing that out to some Negroes, they'll tell you, oh, you're just dealing in fantasy now. Never want to look upon self as being greater than what the white man have portrayed you to be. And you always will be his slave and his nigger as long as you do that.
All right, then. Well, you know, everything happens in the time that it's supposed to happen. I mean, it's right on time, whether we know it or not, or whether we are part of it or we're just onlookers. And this movie came out just right now in this particular time, and there's so much talk and conversation about it. What is the spiritual implications of that movie and it coming out at this particular time? I mean, not tied to Tarantino or anything, because he wouldn't even know. But what is your take on that?
Well, the spiritual implication would be what we would have it to be. Keep in mind, when we talk about spirit or spirituality, we are only talking about an attitude and a behavior. So the movie coming out at the time that it did, the spiritual significance to it would only have meaning if we would put a divine spiritual significance to it by the way that we act and behave towards evil in the way that we should. Otherwise, as always, the evil spirits among us, black people, will prevail again. Because they are those that you just finished describing me, always nitpicking about the movie and taking you away from what you need to be seeing. And that's their spirituality. That's their spiritual significance to that movie. So spirituality is about how you deal with things, how you behave. The mind gives you the information. Now, how you act it out is up to you. And that becomes your spirit of indication, of expression. But we run through life believing spirit to be what religion has taught us to be. And religion is your greatest enemy. you're meaning black folk. Because you cannot point to anything positive that religion has done for you other than to tear up your mind to make it be the way white folks would have it to be. So I would not back down on my position in Revelation in reference to religion. I know my enemy. Hell, the cracker was singing praises to his God while my ancestors were there in chains, while they was castrating my ancestors, raping my mother and father, and the children. Religion, and he would pray to his God. No, that's not my religion. My knowledge gives me a mind that gives to me a divine spirituality, i.e., attitude and behavior to fight like hell against all evil that comes against my life. That's me, brother.
All right then, and to extend that, it's like some people think when you speak against religion that you're speaking against God, but it's actually what you're saying is that it's not religion, it's spirituality, and spirituality is that
an attitude and a behavior.
Yes. All right.
No. When you speak against religion, you indicate that you know what God is.
Right.
The religious believer don't know nothing about God because he is too busy believing. And believing carries a certain amount of doubt. You can't doubt, and you can't deal with God with doubt. You got to know what God is.
All right, then. Okay.
All right, my brother.
Yes, indeed. Anyone else have a closing comment or question?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Chief Elder Osiris, I've emailed you in reference to the cage scene, and I need to know, am I looking and seeing, or am I looking only when I say, in our people, divine pursuit, divine solutions, we have no time for frivolous pursuits, i.e., waiting on splinter groups to come together to get what we need done. Now, the cage scene, when Django had told those white men where the money was at and everything, they cut him loose, and he killed them. To me, they're saying he didn't have enough experience to know that you can't trust a white man. Number two, when he left the door, when the cage door was left open for the brothers to get out, I'm seeing this, that the Django still didn't have any time for frivolous pursuit, meaning, do we have time, any time left, to uncage our people when the cage windows of opportunity is open for us right now? And what are those divine windows of opportunity, and what are those cages that keep us caged?
Well, you cannot free a domesticated animal that have been conditioned to be caged. When the cage was open, I'm just going to take it a step further. All that the brothers had to do is say, brother, wait a minute, get us out of here. That was the indication that they did not desire to be chained. But if you keep your mouth closed, like most black folks do here, it make it seem as if, silent, give up and sin, and you're all right with the chain around your behind. And as you indicated, my sister, Django was in pursuit of his woman, which holds up the black woman to be something to be desired. So if you don't have it within yourself to proclaim your freedom, then, you do for, people do for you what you indicate that you need done for you. And there was no indication that they desired to be free. Now that I consider to be part of the movie script, because I can't see no brother there in a cage with chains around his behind. He's not at sea where he could be free, and he doesn't make an indication plea to be freed by another brother who's been showing nothing but vengeance against evil, unless he had the making of the character of old Sam Jackson.
Yes.
So he'll just be satisfied, and all he want to do is just go and mock the master, in ridiculing black folk.
Chief, it was said that the director left out about 100 scenes. Can we kind of like vision and almost imagine what those scenes could have been and how our people would have reacted had they saw any of those 100 scenes?
No, I mean, why waste time with the scenes he cut? He gave you enough to make you mad as hell now. I mean, that's what I mean about we're so easily distracted. Deal with what is. You have the movie there depicting to you how white folks treated your ancestors and what they found you as black people. Deal with that. But we won't do that. We always take it another level whereby it becomes somewhat insignificant because you don't want to deal with what's right before you. And the movie is right before us telling you and showing you how your ancestors was treated and what all they went through. And you show no resentment towards that? You show no build-up of vengeance towards that? What that say about us? That we are a domesticated slave in the midst of American culture, having no desire to go home. Oh, no. Don't be distracted. See, look, the Negro is very, very cunning, very skillful in distracting you. And this is what he is doing in regard to this movie, where he does not deal with the core meaning and depiction the movie was portraying to you. It's about the white man's attitude towards black people at a period of time called child slavery. Deal with that. No, but we ready to go pick all that other junk out. No.
It's too violent. Too much nigger saying.
No, man, nothing could be more violent than the treatment of another being as your property.
All right, then. Well, I think the movie was right on time, and it those who have eyes was able to see. Those who were just looking, they believe all kind of stuff. As a matter of fact,
don't take your eyes off of them.
Yes. Yeah, they tune into the television to hear what people got to say so that they can say it. Parrot.
That's right.
Yes, indeed. So
all right, my brother.
Yes, indeed. So anyone else, speak now or forever hold your peace. We're going to end this call. Anyone else have a question or comment? If not, we're going to turn the page, and we're going to not stop talking about it, but we're going to end this particular conference call by saying, WACP, the place to be, for we are creative people. Stay tuned for the best and the rest of your life. This has been, yes, indeed. This has been Chief Osiris as your guest, and we would like to thank you so much for your thoughts and your wisdom and your kindness. We'd like to thank the callers who called in and participated, and we would like to thank those who are watching this particular video presentation. Peace and love.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.